Hello friends, Mercury transits on 24th October. Mercury transits from your 4th house to the 5th house and remains there up to 23rd November, about a month's time. It was in a conjunction with debilitated Sun and Mars in the 4th house prior to the transition of Mercury. Now, the Mercury departs to the 5th house and then Mars follows that and transits to the 5th house on 27th October. So, it will be there, the Mars will be there up to 7th December. Both the transits might bring you various different influences to the different aspects of your life. Mercury moves to the 5th house on 24th and then Mars comes there on 27th. So they conjunct there in the 5th house. 5th house resembles your children, your love affairs and your education. Mars also owns or governs the 5th house because 5th house is associated with Scorpio sign. So the lord of the Scorpio sign is Mars. That means Mars governs the 5th house. So now the Mars also in 5th house in a conjunction with Mercury. Usually Mars is not good for the 5th house. But as it governs the 5th house, Mars supports here for the matters governed by 5th house. Mercury also supports all of them. So the conjunction is favorable for Cancer ascendants. Mercury also resembles your 3rd house. Venus is already in debilitated state in the 3rd house, causing troubles to your siblings, your marriage, and your also for your courage, activeness. Debilitated Venus also might affect your health negatively. When the Mars left your 4th house on 27, Sun remains in your 4th house in debilitated state and alone, also up to 2nd November. So the Sun stays there in your 4th house alone and in debilitated state from 27th October to the 2nd November. So the debilitated Sun in alone in the 4th house affects your properties, then your home, residence negatively. Then the Venus transits on 2nd November and joins debilitated Sun in the 4th house. But now things change because 4th house is owned by Venus. So it becomes powerful there. So the Venus starts to exert favorable and good influences for your home, your residence and also your properties. Properties mean your long-term fixed assets like land, building, vehicle, like that. Even though the debilitated Sun exerts some malefic influences there, but still the powerful Venus can overpower those malefic influences or diminish the malefic influences exerted by debilitated Sun, and in addition to that exerts very good beneficial favorable influences for the matters governed by 4th house. So on 16th November, Sun also exits from its debilitated state from the 4th house and enters 5th house in a more powerful state. And the Sun joins Mars and Mercury there and makes a conjunction of 3 planets. And another thing to mention, the Sun also governs 2nd house. 2nd house resembles your wealth, savings, and also your married life after the marriage and the family life, then the speech and the benefits or losses you gain from speech, good and bad state of your speech. So the Ketu is in enemy state in the 2nd house, disturbing those matters governed by the 2nd house. As the lord of the second house, Sun also was in debilitated state about a month's time in the fourth house before the 16th November. So that also must have brought more negative influences on the matters governed by the second house. But now now on 16th, the Sun has escaped from that debilitated state and entered the fifth house. As a result, some of those negative influences influenced the second house might be decreased. So some relief, not complete, some relief is there for the matters governed by second house, because the Ketu is still there influencing some negative influences further to the matters governed by the second house. And the departure of Sun from the fourth house, making it Venus more stronger in the fourth floor, but now this Venus is there alone and in a powerful state, because the fourth house belongs to Venus. So Venus starts to exert more favorable and good influences to the matters governed by fourth house solely, because now it's the only planet there. So Venus will be there up to 26th November in the fourth house. As I mentioned you, now on 16th November, the Sun already joined the fifth house and joined Mars and Mercury, making a conjunction. So the Mars and Mercury is favorable for all the matters governed by second house, but the Sun in the fifth house means it helps love affairs and education, but it might be bad for children. And Sun and Mars together on fifth house means you might be on alert on any matters related to your heart, because your fifth house represents your heart. All these planets we discussed, except Ketu, Mars, Venus, Sun, Mercury, all these planets are fast moving planets, which they generally take a month or 1.5 months to completely move across a house. So they exert short term influences. But the planets like Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu and Ketu takes longer time to move across a house, generally more than a year. For example, Saturn generally takes 2.5 years to move across a house completely. In that sense, when we take Saturn is now in your ninth house. Ninth house is the best or most convenient place in any birth chart, because it resembles your luck, your fortune and karma, and your interest in religious matters, religion, and your interest in spiritual matters. So any planet stays in ninth house either exerts good influences, or at least it doesn't exert malefic influences. So that is a plus mark. Now Saturn for the next 2.5 years won't disturb you much. So on the other hand, these days the Jupiter is in highly favorable state in your birth chart in the first house or lagna bhava from 18th October onward, because Jupiter became exalted. So exalted Jupiter in the first house is the main house or lagna bhava, which resembles your head and your life in general and your personality, attitudes, your losses and gains, or moving up or falling down, and also many more facts of your life. Your life as live your life in general. So the exalted Jupiter in the first house makes you much more comfortable than before, because it stays there somewhat long run, because it stays there up to 5th December in the year 2025. Then again there's a period it becomes exalted in the first house again in 2026, and again in 2027 also for a certain period it exalts there. And not only that, in the future that after 5th of December it moves to your second house. Not after the 5th of December, a certain period in year 2026 also the exalted Jupiter moves to your second house and becomes friendly there, because second house is the place resembles your wealth and savings. So Jupiter in the place which resembles the wealth and saving means it's highly favorable for your wealth and savings. So the future of Jupiter is good for you, that means. So now here in the first house Jupiter remains there in exalted state up to 5th December, and making your life comparatively comfortable. That means you make decisions with kind of maturity and with wisdom, and it will help you to carry on your life even through any obstacles or difficulties, but with kind of economical state and kind of physical strength. That means you will be able to maintain your status in your financial status and even your physical state somewhat comfortably. So that is a plus mark. And on the other hand, the Jupiter in the first house in exalted state can aspect 4th house, 5th house, 7th house, 9th house and 10th houses. So those matters represented by those houses which I mentioned will be benefited from good, favorable influences of Jupiter. And also it will help to decrease some of the malefic influences exerted by the planet which were remains in those houses during that period. So that is a plus fact. And also when we talk about Ketu, I mentioned that earlier also, Ketu will be staying there in the second house in the long run up to 5th December 2026. After that it will disturb your ability to save money or gather wealth. So because Ketu will do some disturbances, it will affect negatively to that. And even for the family life, your married life also, you will get some negative influences on that. Especially careful when you talk, when you speak. That will affect negatively even for your personal life, married life, and also your professional life, and even your social life. So that will affect badly, negatively, making you losses both financially and also in social level. So that is there. And also I have to tell you one thing: the Jupiter becomes retrogrades from 11th November 2025 to 11th March 2026. During the retrogression, Jupiter might not be able to exert its, influence its positive influences in its full potential, because the certain influences of Jupiter might be delayed or get disturbed sometimes. I'm not saying that you will not get all the benefit from the Jupiter as expected. You will get definitely to a great extent you will get those benefits, but some of those might get delayed or disturbed during the period it becomes retrograded. The other negative fact is except Ketu situation, the other negative fact is Rahu. Rahu is in the worst house in your horoscope. It started from 18th May, now it will be there in your 8th house up to 5th December 2026. When the good planet aspect there, the things might be move somewhat positive way mostly. Otherwise, it will be negative. So, because the 5th house is the worst house in any horoscope, which mainly resembles setbacks in life, sorrow, grief, fall, and losses, and threats to the life likewise. So mostly negative matters. That's why when the Rahu is in the 8th house, that means some negative signals. That means some kind of setbacks in your life these days. You are experiencing some kind of setbacks in your life these days. Your profession and your mental stability likewise. And even your married life or your marriage is affecting from some negative influences in these days. The exalted Jupiter helps you to maintain your family life or marriage in a positive manner to a great extent because of the exalted Jupiter's positive influences. But still you will get some negative influences from the other planets like Rahu, Ketu for your marriage in a negative manner. All these planets we discuss are slow moving planets. I mean like the four planets, Saturn, Ketu, Rahu, and then the Jupiter. These planets are slowly moving planets. They take a much longer time to move across the house completely. Then that's why they bring mostly long-term influences. So now astrology analysis is actually a common analysis for the Cancer ascendants with regard to the transit of Mercury. But to get a more personalized and more accurate birth chart reading based on your own unique birth chart, then you have to consult an astrologer and get your own personalized birth chart reading. Because your birth chart shows the exact positions of the planets which were placed in the sky at the time of your birth. It's like a screenshot of that. It is unique to you and your story is recorded there. Also, remember the destiny is not fixed. You can change it. Astrology shows the good and bad things to be happened according to your birth chart. It's the possible way of your life based on what you have brought with you at the birth. So astrology guides you by forecasting the possible good and bad to come ahead in your life. That is one main function and use of astrology. That is one reason people used it over centuries in the East and West. So when you have the guidance from the astrology, you can prepare early for your life. I mean, for the good and bad things to come ahead, you can prepare early, plan well early, and execute your plans to change the destiny in the positive direction in your favor.